Welcome to worship on this happy July 5th. And I'm going to light our chalice, and you can light your chalice at home and say the chalice lighting words. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the Church of the Open Mind. This is the Church of the Loving Heart. This is the Church of the Helping Hands. So glad to see you all this morning. So we're going to sing our song this morning at the end instead at the beginning. So I want to look in the toolbox and to see what's in there for today. I'm looking in here and I am very surprised to see chalk, colored chalk, white chalk. I'm a little surprised because I don't think of chalk as being a tool so much as being an art supply. But chalk is really interesting. This kind of chalk is actually made in a factory, but originally chalk was dug out of the ground. And it's kind of an amazing substance because it's a rock, but it's really, really soft. And so when you write with it, it's very easy to erase. And it's used for a lot of things. It was used, and it's still used by builders and woodworkers because you can make marks to figure out where you're going to saw things or cut things, and then you can erase it so that it doesn't show, or you can change it really easily. And tailors, people who make clothes, use tailor's chalk to mark the fabric so that the fabric isn't stained, but they know exactly where to cut it. My favorite thing about chalk that I can think of is the way that it's used in schools. And before whiteboards and dry erase markers, teachers used to use big chalkboards and they would write on the chalkboard so that everyone could see. And even before that, when paper was really expensive, there was no paper or pencils for kids to use in school, and instead, every kid had their own little chalkboard, just like this, a little slate. And the slates then were made of a black, the reason that they were called slates is because they were made of slate and that people could learn to write and do their math on their chalkboards, and then they could erase it really easily and then do their next assignment. That's really cool. So today, I move this chalice out of the way. Today we're going to talk about the democratic process. And the democratic process is an idea that means that every person has a voice in things which concern them. And most of the time when we think about the democratic process, we think of voting, like you say, I am for this or I am against this. But the democratic process is actually really much broader than that. It's all the ways in which we work as a community to make sure people have a voice. So you can do that in a really casual way, like if you're deciding what game to play, you say, what game would you like to play, everybody? And then everybody says, Monopoly. And some people say, I hate Monopoly. And you come to a consensus about what game you'll play. And that's part of the democratic process. And that is giving every person a voice is a really important spiritual tool. It's a really important part of our church. You might not know this, but when we make important decisions as a church together, the adults vote. So for example, when we chose Reverend Tom as our minister, all the people in the church voted for him. Everyone had a say about whether or not we would have him as our minister. And giving everyone a voice is a really important part of building a strong community. And it's really important that each of us have a voice. So when I'm in a situation where I don't have a say, where people aren't listening to me, I don't feel strong, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard. So it's really important for me as a spiritual tool to make sure that I have a voice. So you might be thinking to yourself, what does chalk have to do with the democratic process? And I wanted to show you a little demonstration of it. So remember, yesterday was our nation's birthday, July 4th, Independence Day. And you might have known that our country started because some men in our country, so this was over 250 years ago, they were pretty rich men, they had property, they owned things, and they were upset that they didn't have a voice in their government in Britain across the ocean. And so they had a revolution and they rebelled because they didn't feel like they had freedom, they didn't have a vote, they didn't have a voice. And that's how our country started, because some people didn't have a voice. And that was a very inspiring idea, that people should have a voice. And when we started out, only men with property had a voice. But over the years, we have increased the circle of people who have a voice in our country to include Black men, and to include white women, and to include Black women, and to include Native Americans. And I wanted to show you a picture on my slate which shows that, which is that our country started out where only white men had the vote, and they were the only people who were in the circle. And the reason that I think of chalk as being a really good symbol for the democratic process is that it is really easy to erase this circle, which only gives white men the vote, white men with property. I erased that circle, and then I drew a much bigger circle. I'm drawing a much bigger circle right now with the chalk, which is really easy to change and really easy to include more people. And you can see that I drew a much bigger circle, which included all different kinds of people. So when I think of the democratic process, which is really important to each one of us, that each one of us has a voice, and when I think about the importance of our communities, where each person in our community has a voice, I think of chalk, because chalk is adjustable. Chalk allows us to expand the circle. So in honor of that, I would like us to sing a song, and this is one of my favorite songs, which is called Circle Round for Freedom, and Alan has put it in the chat. And I am going to sing it, and I would love it if you would sing it along with me. It is a song about a circle. It is a song about freedom. It's a song about including people. Are you ready? Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison. Circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. So as we go to breakouts this morning, I would love for you all to share joys and sorrows. And I would also like you to share an experience of voting in your life. It can be when you went to the polls with your parents. It can be an important vote that you took. It can be a vote that you did at school. Voting is fun, and it's nice to remember. And then if you have extra time, I would like you as a group to take some fun votes. I'd like you to pretend to vote whether chocolate or vanilla ice cream will win, and whether or not the beach or the mountains will win as a vacation. So I would like our Alan to zoom us to our breakout rooms now.